What's going on, guys? This is the Red Rogue back with another video, this time about the horrific vision of Orgrimmar. Orgrimmar is widely considered to be easier than Stormwind, and I'd be like that close to saying that it's unanimous, but I'm sure there's like one or two people out there that think Stormwind's easier. To each their own. Orgrimmar doesn't really require any big brain tactics, and it's a lot more forgiving than Stormwind because it has a lot more open areas. I did find a couple interesting things, though, for the Valley of Wisdom, which, at least to me, is probably one of the more difficult areas, especially when there's bad overlaps, and Leadfoot primarily makes it a little bit more difficult there, just because of how many mobs have ground-placed abilities. So I found two things, and I don't know if anybody's talked about them yet, and I don't know if one of them should even technically be able to happen. One can probably be used by any class in the game, but I think would benefit some more than others, or being in a group. The other, I think, is pretty exclusively a rogue-only ability, because I've tried doing a couple things on my other characters to see if I could replicate it, and yeah, no. So, I guess let's get this started. As with every vision run, it's ideal to have Ghastly Goulash as your food buff, as it gives you a free 2% max health every second in healing. Also, keep some kebabs on you, just in case you need to get above half sanity, or just to be topped off in general. When starting in Orgrimmar, you'll want to double check this hut just past the bank to know which colored vial is the poison in your vision run. The WeakAura I use will let you track what every potion does once you determine the poison, so I highly recommend it. I'll leave a link in the description so you can try it out. There will be a buff NPC on either the left or right hand side. If there is an NPC in the blacksmithing building, then the buff will be a 10% damage increase. Otherwise, the buff will be from Gammon, who is on the second floor of the inn on the opposite side, for 10% maximum health. While in the drag, if there is an ethereal portal in the transmog hut that you're able to click on, it will spawn an enemy that will give you a 10% crit chance buff. Otherwise, the buff will be a 10% haste and movement speed buff from this NPC in the Valley of Spirits. As a quick tip, do not interrupt her lightning ability, because as soon as you do, you'll be instantly polymorphed if you don't have a magic immunity. For my last normal tip, I recommend grabbing the add-on TOMTOM and this WeakAura, as it will help you locate all of the odd crystals in Orgrimmar, which are honestly a bit trickier to find than in Stormwind. You know how Gayara is super amazingly helpful and pulls stuff while you're not looking? Well, what if you didn't have her following you around at all? Normally when you first enter the Valley of Spirits, the Faceless she is fighting will put you in combat with it, which means you have to kill it for you to drop combat in the zone. However, if you're a rogue and simply go into the zone and vanish elsewhere, you'll drop combat with the mob and Gayara will spend the entire time fighting it while you can do sneaky boy things. Eventually you will have to kill this mob to complete the zone, however you can save it for the last enemy so you don't have any issues elsewhere. Now this trick is definitely not intentional, but it's very interesting to say the least. I actually ended up bringing my Death Knight in for a run just to verify this. While standing close to this wall in the Valley of Wisdom, your madness is instead replaced with the madness from the Valley of Strength. This also changes your sanity loss to the same rate as the Valley of Strength too. Now, if you have any ranged moves or pets to command, you can pull things back to this area and retain that madness as long as you stay near this wall. Leaving the area near this wall will revert your madness to the correct one, and it will not change back until you drop combat. I have yet to test this in a group, but I have a strong feeling if you wanted any range classes to stand there, then you could have a tank or any melee classes or even a pet go and bring stuff back to you so you can have a much easier time in the Valley of Wisdom. It's kinda weird, but it could potentially be a useful little trick. Well guys, I think that about covers Horrific Vision of Orgrimmar. Most of it's pretty standard, you know, knowing where all the right potions are, knowing which buffs are what from which person, knowing where all the odd crystals are to get the most mementos you can from each run, knowing what abilities cheese what mechanics. Most of that's pretty normal. But the tricky parts are knowing what mechanics you can get around that aren't actually mechanics, like the vision madnesses themselves. That one's going to be interesting, because I have a feeling there's a lot of potential with that little trick I found. The other one, vanishing and skipping past the one enemy so you don't have Gayara chasing your ass, is nice, but obviously you can do it with her following you around, but she just pulls stuff for no reason. I don't know why. She'll just run off and do her own thing sometimes. So being able to not have her follow you at all while you take care of everything is nice, but I think literally only a rogue can pull that one off, so, because Vanish OP. But yeah, other than that, if there's anything I missed or any suggestions you have for future videos, or something I could mention as tips and tricks in a later video, maybe something on a recap of Visions later on, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I got plenty of other stuff in the works, but I'll definitely listen to whatever feedback you guys have. This is the Red Rogue, and I'll see you guys around.